you hear the expression, God, I wonder what these streets would say if they could talk. Sarasota Street Talk is making the streets talk, and we're recording what they're saying. So that, to me, that is what Sarasota Street Talk is all about.
Sarasota Street Talk is to introduce people of the surroundings.
We're literally right now, we're downtown Sarasota, and we hear people all around us telling different stories. Those are the streets talking.
Hey, Scotty, how are you?
Good morning, Mark. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well, Scotty. Thank you for asking.
Good. How you feeling being back in the Sarasota land since your cruise?
I feel phenomenal.
Good.
I feel great. No, the first one that took in ever.
Yep.
And it was very eye-opening, and I now know what all-inclusive means.
Yeah.
And I now feel what all-inclusive means.
Right.
But no, it was very, very fun.
Did you have elastic waist pants on when we were on that cruise?
I did when I got off. Yeah, I had to buy some at the port. It cost me like $100.
You know,
Very expensive.
I think next week I'm gonna interview you, and all about the cruise.
Okay,
Right?
yeah,
We're gonna do that.
There's some things I can talk about, and there's some things that stay on the cruise.
Okay. Right.
Okay, so
We'll do that.
No, but yeah, that's a good idea.
So here we are. We're at the Bazaar at
Apricot
Apricot
and Lime. Yep.
and it's the third Saturday
yes, it is.
of the month.
Yep. And each other Saturday, we're in front of Gator Club and Parker's Books right there on Lemon and Main Street. My name is Mark Klecka. I'm a realtor with Caldwell Banker downtown. And my cohort here is
Scott Mayloff, mortgage broker at Summit Lending Solutions in Sarasota.
yeah, and we do Sarasota Street Talk just because it's just so much fun to do this, connect with people, find out stories about downtown, Limelight, here at the Bazaar, which I consider to be downtown, but I think many people don't.
Right.
They don't know it's here. You know, so
It's growing. It's growing though. It is growing. It's getting out.
definitely
Kim's
growing.
getting the word out. We're hopefully helping her get the word out a little bit, and it's all good.
By Kim, it's Miss Kim Living Good, who is the proprietor of this fantastic establishment. 40 vendors here, craft vendors. She does these pop-up markets once every month that we have the privilege of being able to be part of. And then meet individuals such as our guests, and we interview people here at the show here.
Right. So today we've got 4 vendors that are in the courtyard, and should we segue?
We just
there
did.
you go.
We're
So
on you. So
sir, introduce yourself, and we'll go from there.
Well, I'm James Cutway with Myakka's Gold Apiary. We're a local apiary here that we do lots of live relocations for people when they have bees in unwanted places and sell local honey.
Apiary is bee craft. Is that what
Yes.
constitutes
Raising.
raising?
Your trivia question. That's what we're going to use next week.
Oh yeah, jot that down.
What is an apiary?
What's an apiary?
They raise bees,
Yep.
basically.
And who is our local apiary?
Yes.
That's keep it local, right?
Myakka's Gold,
If you have birds, you have an aviary.
right?
Okay.
So if you have bees, you're an apiary.
Okay, that's very cool. And so, are you one of the only apiarists in this area, or are there others? Or
Oh, there's quite a few.
Okay,
There's quite a few.
Obviously, you're the best, but I mean,
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
absolutely.
but it's just an interesting profession. I mean, it's a cool profession.
It is. It takes a special mindset and a special kind of person.
So my kids raise bees.
Wonderful.
My 3 boys. My youngest son is out there, in with a couple acres or whatever. And one day I go there, and there they are. They've got the wooden
Hives.
hives all in there. They got the queen. They got all this stuff going on. I'm like, you guys are nuts. I mean, I'm like, you know why though? They like their mead.
Absolutely.
So they're raising bees to make mead.
Mead.
So mead is alcohol that is honey based.
Oh.
Like wine is grapes.
Yeah.
Beer is hops. Mead is honey.
Got it. Okay.
So something, and I love my mead as well. So that,
It's the oldest
Love me some
alcoholic beverage known to man.
yes, it is.
Wow. Okay.
So there's more trivia.
Yeah, no, it
so
is.
I've noticed that you've been here. How long have you been here at the Bazaar doing these pop-ups? You've been here
Since
for a
it,
while.
before
At least we've been
before it
doing
started.
Okay.
Kim recruited me hard for several years to come and be inside.
Okay.
And at that
No
time,
pun intended.
and I just couldn't make the commitment.
Right.
So when she wanted to do the outdoor pop-up, the Limelight Market, she approached me, and I want to do it the first Saturday. I have a market that day.
Right.
I want to do it the second Saturday. I have a market that day. I want to do it the fourth Saturday. I have a market that day. She goes, what do you do the third Saturday? I said, I don't have a market. We're going to do a pop-up market out in the courtyard on the third
So
Saturday.
you're the one who picked the date.
So you picked the
He
day.
picked the weekends.
That's awesome.
So you were the first one in.
Yes.
First one on the outside, actually. on the
So
outside
basically,
vendor.
you are in control of this whole entire organization.
Yes.
Absolutely not.
No,
Kim's a
we-
figurehead.
So tell us about the location and how you do it. So, give me a visual of that setup.
Where do you want to
How
start?
many? I just
Like what it looks like
The beginning, yeah.
in
Well,
the
yeah.
place of business. What's
Yeah.
You've been to your kids'
that's
house.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
and they've probably got
obviously they
3
can't make-
colonies.
Yeah, it could be.
And a colony is one.
Each of
one
that
stack.
stack. Yep. They
Yep.
about what they have. Yes.
And that's a great place to start. Is
Okay.
or 3 colonies. Picture now an agricultural plot, usually cattle pastures, which is what I work with.
Okay.
I work with cattle ranchers. For the most part, they're not doing any spraying, herbicides, pesticides, that kind of stuff. So that gives me a little buffer around my bees to keep those chemicals out of the bees and out of the honey and everything else.
Right.
So they've got 3 picture going into a cattle pasture where there's 50 to 70 of those stacks.
Right.
That's my world.
Okay.
And literally, we're vagabonds in that we move our bees around different locations, different times of the year to be able to pinpoint specific nectar sources. So when one particular plant is done blooming, we pull all the boxes, the honey supers, we extract all the honey out, give them fresh boxes, come in the evening, they get loaded on the flatbed truck, tarped over, we move to a new location, and start over again.
I didn't even realize
That's
that.
so cool.
Yeah, it's not just you have your set business and they're the bees. You're because they depend on the surroundings,
Right.
in order to
Absolutely.
be able to produce, right? So you're moving, like
Yes. About
So you're
about
you're a
4
bee
times a
gypsy.
year.
Bee
Yes,
gypsy.
vagabonds.
yeah. That's very cool.
So how much do they produce? There was 50 to 70 colonies. How much honey do they produce? And whatever, weekly, daily, how does it work?
Usually seasonally.
Okay.
Typically, a nectar flow in this area is about 6-ish weeks. A good strong colony can build on a good nectar flow. Again, this is all Mother Nature dependent. I'm in agriculture. You know, whatever Mother Nature decides, that's what happens.
Right.
But a good strong colony on a good nectar flow in a good area can produce 60 to 80 pounds, some 100.
Wow.
And the next colony that the genetics aren't right or something's just not going good might produce 10. So we are Mother Nature dependent, and Mother Nature has been giving Florida a hard time the last couple of years.
Oh, it has. Okay.
How long does it take to do? How long does it take to go in, like from the very beginning, like when you start the honey process, I guess, and for them to do what they do, the voodoo that they do in there,
Well-
and then when you go to harvest it, I guess that's the incorrect term, but
Close enough. Generally figure the nectar flow is about 6 weeks. So, and it's, again, depending on Mother Nature. Perfect example is the orange blossoms. The old timers will tell us that the first full moon in February is when the trees start to bloom. They've usually been pretty good. This year, the full moon is about 10 days from now. So we're hoping that by then it's going to be a good nectar flow. That process starts, you add honey, add the supers as they fill them, either by filled with honey or with bees. You just maintain your bee space and give them room to make the honey. When the trees are done blooming, that's when we pull the honey off and extract it. Again, it depends on the nectar flow, but 6 weeks is a good thumbnail, so to speak, a good guesstimate. You know, sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 10, and then once that flow is done and we move them, now it's extracting time. Extracting can be on a really good nectar flow. I'll spend almost 2 weeks extracting.
and that's pressing it out of the cones, right, or the
That's old school.
honeycombs. That's
Yep,
old school.
that's old school.
Okay.
I actually use it, for layman's terms, a centrifuge. They call it an extractor in the beekeeping world. And what you do is everybody's seen honeycomb, and the tops of the honeycomb cells are covered with a wax capping. Mm-hmm. I have a tool that you run the frames through, and it cuts that cap off So now you have an individual little cell full of honey. You put it in this centrifuge, and it spins the honey out. The reason being for that is it takes the bees about 4 times as much nectar to make a pound of wax as it does to make a pound of honey. So if you can give them that comb right back again to refill, they don't have to build comb. They make honey then.
Oh.
Which increases
So you
your
recap
yield.
it. You recap it, right?
They do.
Or they do. Okay.
Yep.
So how does the food's ready?
Back.
How does one decide, hey, I'm going to be a beekeeper? And how long have you been doing this?
I've been playing with bees for about 15 years.
Okay.
As any good story should start, a buddy of mine and I were in my
Drinking.
shop. We were in my shop one day having some adult beverages.
Okay.
And we started talking about mead. He used to brew his own beer. So down the road, hey, you've got the equipment, you've got the know-how, we need to make some mead. Well, in order to make mead, you got to have honey.
Right.
In order to have real honey, you got to have bees. You know, the store-bought stuff is not necessarily really honey.
Right.
Craigslist, guy had an ad for beekeeping supplies. We showed up with 2 trucks, 2 trailers,
That's cool.
got everything but the bees, and soon thereafter we had bees, and him and I were in the bee business. He's gotten out of it and changed plans, and I've gotten much bigger and further into the beekeeping world.
I was at a mead fest in Crown Point, Indiana, and it supposedly was the first big mead fest about 3 years ago, and there had to be 50 to 100 meaderies
Absolutely.
present and just tasted a whole lot of mead.
Oh, yes.
And like I said, my kids go to meaderies all the time. And my son's one of them's a member at, you have to be members at some of those places like craft beer.
Right.
He's a member at like 5 meaderies.
That's cool.
So yeah, good stuff.
So what kind of equipment do you have to wear to go and handle? Because you get covered in bees, right? You go in do you wear the stuff, or by now?
Absolutely, I wear it.
Yeah.
I have come to the realization that it's much better to be overprotected and not need it than underprotected and wish you had it.
Yeah, that's said for a lot of things in life.
Absolutely.
Could you
Just
imagine
about
being
anything.
chased by a couple million bees? Yeah, I
no.
wouldn't want
I
that.
see people that are just kind of like, they just go in there and they're flying around and they're all over their arms, and you're going to get stung. Right? I mean, they're bees. They're animals,
Yes.
right?
They're insects.
Yeah, it's not like you're gonna
That's why I thought my kids were
domesticate
nuts.
them,
When
right?
I saw what my kids were doing, I'm like, you guys are nuts. And I saw pictures of them with all their,
And with
all
the-
their stuff
the
on. I'm like,
oils
oh,
and
you guys
all
are nuts.
that.
Yep.
So I noticed when I was over there, different flavorings of honey, all sorts of different things you do with it.
Different nectar sources.
Different nectar sources. Okay.
Not so much
Oh.
that the honey has been flavored, but it's from different nectar sources, from moving the bees around different locations, different times of the year.
And it makes it taste different.
Different.
Okay.
Different flowers smell differently. The smell from that flower comes from the nectar. The nectar is what the bees use to make the honey. So by putting your bees in a specific area, you can pinpoint a specific nectar source during a specific time of the year.
Right.
So it's not just location, but it's time of the year as well.
Right.
And most of our plants, we know that you've got a window when they bloom.
Yeah.
If you get there just before they bloom, leave just after. So you've captured most of that nectar flow, and that's where you get the different sources for the different flavors of honey.
And then you can identify these different sources and go back
Year
this
after
cycle,
year after year. Yes.
and-
Yep.
Very, very cool. Okay.
And I could see, I think when you switch the camera to James, you can see the samples he's got
Yeah,
here. Can
actually,
you see
we can go
those?
ahead and-
Or hold them up.
Yeah,
you can
we'll
hold them up.
Show you right now.
Show us what you
We
got.
can do it this way too.
Yeah.
And we'll do them in
So, so
Coloration.
while we're doing this, besides being here on the third Saturday, how else? And you're at 3 other markets.
not anymore. I've actually cut back a little bit.
Okay.
I'm not as spry as I used to be.
Okay, but so where else can they buy this? Can they go online and buy it? Is there a place they can come and buy it at your shop or something?
I'm here the third Saturday of the month at
Right.
the Bazaar, and then every Sunday I'm at the Waterside Market at Lakewood Ranch.
Okay. So they need to come find you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't get it online. You
No.
can't.
You can't order a case and have it shipped or anything
No,
like that.
sir.
All right. Well, that's okay.
I am a
You're a local dude.
direct-to-consumer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's right.
That's-
It's a specialty item.
It
You have
is.
to come get it.
Very cool.
All right.
All right,
That's,
so-
that's awesome. I think I'm going to
What do you have?
stop by. Oh, yeah.
No, I want him to
Some of this.
real quick. Yeah.
Mild
And he's got
flavor-
spoons, so I'm going to
Yeah,
taste one.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. Here we go.
Mild flavored, mild sweet.
Okay.
Oh,
We'll do them right in a row.
Yep. It's kind of like going to a wine tasting where you start with the whites and you move your way up to the
There you
bold
go.
cabs.
So
This is a mild.
That is a mild flavored, mild sweet.
Okay.
That is from the Brazilian pepper tree, the tree that everybody loves oh so much here.
That's good.
And I
love honey.
I try not to tell people what the nectar source is, because the first thing that they think in their mind when they hear Brazilian pepper, oh, it's hot.
Right.
It's not.
Okay, that was very good.
Okay, so this one
I think I'm going to be amazed, like the different taste flavors.
Well, this is great because then I can decide which one I'm buying.
Yeah.
that is saw palmetto, which is the longest living plant in Florida. They the palmettos that you see out in the pastures, when they're growing flat still, they're less than 100 years old. At about 100 years of age, they actually turn and start going up. So when you see an area of palmettos that's got 6 or 8 foot tall palmettos, you're talking 300-400-year-old palm trees.
That's absolutely delicious.
That is delicious.
I can tell. You can tell the difference
Yeah,
between
you can tell the difference.
Don't eat the spoon.
No, it's
I'll
hard.
give
to
you
eat.
more.
I literally-
No, it's
So I was-
covered in honey.
My son was in town and he's like, I had a cough for about a week or so, and he was in town for like 3 days. He goes, Dad, zinc and honey. That's all you need. Get some tea, put a bunch of honey in it, and you'll feel great in a couple days.
Now, what do we got here?
That one is spring flower.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's more of a florally sweet.
Oh, that's got a little sweet kick at the end. Yeah. Takes about a second or two.
I like that one.
Yeah, like.
And you can see the color, like you said, it goes light to darker, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a cab guy, so I'll probably like the darker ones.
That one is a fall flower, which is kind of a caramelly kind of sweet.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, that's distinctly different than the rest.
I like that one.
Does it get more caramelly as it gets darker, or does there?
Does
it
just,
matter?
It's just different nectar sources.
I'm sorry, what was that one again?
That one I call
The
fall, flower.
Okay.
Now, this one is very unique. And before you taste it, let me tell you.
Okay.
30 proof alcohol.
I was just thinking about putting some of this in some rum.
Now, most everybody, when they taste stuff, we put it in our mouth and we smack our mouth and we roll our tongue around and all that kind of stuff. With that, put it in there, let it dissolve. The different taste buds in your mouth pick up different notes of the honey. So by letting it just dissolve across, those different taste buds fire on the individual flavors.
Okay.
And you will pick up a lot of different little nuances in that
So
honey.
put it in and just let it sit.
Let it dissolve.
All right.
It'll go away. That is a unique honey. I do a lot of relocations for people when they have bees in unwanted places. And what I do is I save up the honeycomb separately. When I get enough of it, I crush it, strain it, and bottle it. Like you were talking about with crushing the comb, that's the process that I use for that. And then I strain it and bottle it. So it has all kinds of different nectar sources of honey all put together in like a Heinz 57.
I like the two darker ones for some
I think
reason the best, but they're all great. All
No, they're
five
all
I
very,
love,
very
and I'm a
good.
big fan of honey.
I almost
They're very good.
tasted like 3 or 4 different types of tastes on that one.
Absolutely.
Different times.
Yeah.
Is that what
and
you meant?
that's why I was saying by letting it dissolve, you're not spreading it across all the different taste buds. These 4 are more of a mono source honey,
Right.
Single source, and this is more like old school beekeeper where they harvested honey once a year and there might be 4 or 5 different nectar sources in it.
Okay. So that's like a blend. That's like a blend.
Yes.
And those are
Heinz
not.
57 of honeys.
Yeah. Very
That's
good.
not- so how much are these? Or
The
what do we
1 pound bottles are only $10.
look- Okay. All right. And do you have larger ones as well? or
I
is-
do have 10 pounders on occasion.
Okay. But it's probably better being that they're so fresh. You probably don't want that much. Or you just
But honey,
refrigerate
this
it.
stuff lasts forever,
Do
right?
they have good shelf life?
Yeah.
Well, the stuff that they pulled out of the Egyptian tombs was still good. So
Yeah.
That
couple
tells us a little bit
thousand
of-
years.
tells us some stuff right there.
No, right. No, but you can have this. Actually, I think that's a trivia question. What's the longest? What food lasts the longest? I think it might be honey.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
I'm going to Google that one. I think that's a trivia question. What food will last the longest without going bad? I think it might be honey.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let's write that down.
Or a Twinkie.
Stretching.
Or a Twinkie. One of those two. Yeah.
That lasts
That's-
through Armageddon
yeah,
and
that's what I've heard.
nuclear war.
The worst thing that real honey will do is crystallize. You can take a little bit of warm water, put a bottle in it, or put the bottle in the warm water, not hot, but warm, and it will melt again.
Yeah.
And you've got liquid honey.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, it's probably was one of the longest lasting.
it is.
Absolutely.
Very cool.
Very good.
All right.
All right. I'm going to get one of each of those.
I'm probably going to come over as well.
Yep.
So, thank you so
Thanks
much.
for
Oh, you're
coming
very
on.
welcome,
that
gentlemen.
was very informative.
So, the third Saturday here at the Bazaar
Yep.
Yep.
on Apricot and Lime, and every Sunday
Every
at
every
Waterside's
Sunday-
Farmer Market.
Yes, sir.
All right. I might
Come-
get up
come
there.
and get your honey.
I might get up there.
I know Teresa loves her honey, so I mean,
You know-
I'll probably get a couple of those for her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks,
Absolutely.
James.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Nice meeting
Yeah.
you.
Yes, sir.
Very nice to meet you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
God, see,
That was
the cool thing about coming here and seeing all the different types of things and people and products
and learning
and learning.
so much.
Yeah, I had no idea. Like I've always kind of been curious about how that worked.
And the story of how he started. You were grabbing your food,
Yeah.
like any
What I
good,
missed.
like any good story. Him
Yeah.
and his buddy were drinking beers,
And that's
and
the
his
start
buddy,
of every
his
good
buddy
idea.
homebrewed. His
Every
buddy
good idea.
homebrewed, and they said we need to make mead.
Uh-huh.
And that kind of explains why my kids have
There we
colonies in their backyard.
Exactly.
There we go.
So
All right. Well,
right.
the fantastic guest.
we're gonna
another one. So-
take a quick break so
Yes,
you can
we are.
grab your food and be
Yep.
less hangry.
Yep, we just got some French toast
Hamlet's Eatery.
from Hamlet's Eatery, so we're gonna go
I'm
ahead
going
and
to probably
partake in
place
this.
my order in a little bit. I'm thinking a burger today.
Yep, and then we're gonna come back and we'll talk to another fantastic
Okay,
vendor here.
great. All right.
All right. Have a
Ciao.
good, ciao, everybody.
Make good choices.
And
we'll be
make good
back in a minute.
choices. We'll be right back.